The moment Dylan Wang's message to Miles Wei surfaced online, the entire cdrama community froze in disbelief. It wasn't just a random post. It wasn't just another celebrity comment. It was something far deeper, something almost hauntingly personal. A cryptic message that no one could fully understand, but everyone could feel. The tension was electric. The words looked simple, but the emotion behind them was heavy enough to shake both fanbases to their core. What did Dylan mean by it? Was it a warning, a confession, or something more secret than anyone dared to guess? That night, Dylan's message appeared on his private account before being deleted moments later, yet the internet never forgets. Screenshots began to spread like wildfire, each one dissected by fans and analysts alike. His words were few, but the tone was unmistakably serious. "You already know what this means, and so does he." That was all it said. Short, strange, and dripping with tension. But the question was, who was he? Was Dylan talking about someone in their circle? Or was it directed at the silent eyes watching from behind the industry walls? Miles Wei, on the other hand, stayed completely silent for 2 days. No posts, no comments, not even a story. For a man known for his calm and measured demeanor, this silence was deafening. Fans started to panic, while others grew curious. What if the message had nothing to do with friendship at all? What if it was connected to the long-standing rumors of hidden rivalries, broken promises, and quiet deals within the entertainment world that no one dared to talk about openly? Behind the scenes, things were shifting fast. Several insiders began hinting that something big was about to break. A production member who once worked with both Dylan and Miles revealed that the two had not spoken for months after a mysterious fallout during the final stages of a major drama casting. Apparently, Miles had been offered a role that Dylan had previously been in talks for, and what followed was a quiet storm of professional tension and private disappointment. The cryptic message, according to some, was Dylan's way of bringing light to something that had long been kept in the shadows. But there was more. Observers noticed that the timing of the post coincided with a major announcement involving Bai Lu and Shen, who had both worked closely with Dylan in recent projects. Could the message have been connected to them too? Was Dylan using Miles as a metaphorical mirror to reflect something bigger happening in the background? The theory didn't seem far-fetched once you saw the patterns. Dylan's posts leading up to that day had been unusually introspective. One of his earlier captions had read, "When silence becomes too loud, the truth starts to echo." Fans who pieced the puzzle together believed he had been dropping subtle clues all along, preparing for this moment. Then came the night of the interview. Miles Wei was asked about Dylan's message for the first time. The studio audience went quiet. He smiled faintly, then paused for a long time before answering. "Sometimes," he said softly, "words don't belong to one person. They belong to a story." And just like that, he ended the topic. That single line set the internet ablaze again. What story was he talking about? Was it personal? Was it professional? The next day, Dylan appeared at an event in Shanghai wearing a minimalist outfit but with an expression that said everything. Calm yet distant, like someone carrying a secret too heavy to explain. When reporters tried to ask about the message, he only said, "Sometimes, clarity comes when people stop trying to decode everything." The irony was stunning. Because the more he said that, the deeper the curiosity grew. As fans analyzed both their words, one detail began to emerge. A subtle pattern in Dylan's past interviews suggested that he often expressed himself through coded messages, often blending real emotion with symbolic meaning. He once said that truth doesn't always belong in the light, but it always finds its way through whispers. Could it be that this was his way of signaling reconciliation or closure with Miles without having to say it directly? Behind closed doors, another layer began to form. A studio staff member hinted that Dylan and Miles might actually be working together again on a secret project that required confidentiality. If that were true, then the message might have been an inside nod, a way of acknowledging that their story wasn't over, but simply evolving under a new light. Fans started calling it the Whisper Pact, a symbolic name for the unspoken bond between two stars who had once drifted apart but might still share unfinished business. Weeks later, a new clip surfaced showing Dylan and Miles in the same city at different events, but within hours of each other. Their glances, their body language, and even the captions on their separate posts seemed strangely connected. Miles wrote, "The silence ends when the purpose begins," while Dylan posted, "Sometimes, endings are just disguised beginnings." The internet exploded again, convinced that whatever tension once existed between them was being transformed into something greater, maybe even collaborative. What made the entire situation even more mesmerizing was the way Shen and Lu subtly entered the narrative. Both actresses, known for their calm yet observant personalities, shared cryptic posts of their own. Shen uploaded a photo of a single letter D drawn in the sand, while Lu wrote, "Not everything hidden stays buried." Fans were convinced that they knew something, or perhaps they were part of the story all along. In the end, Dylan's cryptic message to Miles Wei was more than just a fleeting post. It became a phenomenon, a chain reaction of curiosity, speculation, and emotional storytelling that blurred the line between real and unreal, between truth and artistry. Whether it was about rivalry, forgiveness, or something entirely unseen, the moment reminded everyone why Dylan Wang continues to be one of the most fascinating figures in the cdrama world. His words may have been few, but the echoes they left behind were loud enough to shift the entire atmosphere of the industry. And maybe, just maybe, that was his plan all along. The whispers began just as the night settled over the studio. No one had expected that a single message from Dylan Wang could turn the entire entertainment world upside down. What started as a simple post had now become a deep storm of questions, tension, and speculation. Miles Wei had not responded yet, and that silence was growing louder with every passing hour. Behind the flashing lights and polished interviews, something much deeper was unfolding. Dylan's message wasn't just random words. Those who knew him well understood that he never spoke without purpose. Every phrase he posted seemed to carry a shadow, a code that only a few could truly understand. The industry insiders began whispering about an unspoken truth between him and Miles, something that stretched far beyond work or friendship. When Shen was asked about it during an interview, her expression said more than words ever could. She smiled faintly, hesitated, and then said, "Sometimes, silence holds more meaning than an entire paragraph." That one sentence sent fans into chaos. Was she hinting that she knew something about the message? Or was she caught in the same web of mystery? A few days later, Lu posted a story that only made things more complicated. A photo of the sea at dawn with a single caption, "Some waves never settle." People instantly connected it to Dylan's cryptic message, and the theory spread that perhaps the message wasn't about Miles Wei directly, but about something shared among all of them, something emotional, something unresolved. Dylan remained silent. He had vanished from social media, leaving only that one post behind, and the internet refused to let it fade. Forums filled with fans decoding every part of his message. They analyzed the time it was posted, the filter used, even the punctuation. Some claimed the image hidden behind his words had secret letters woven into it. Others said it was a farewell, a coded goodbye. But no one could confirm what it truly meant. Then, without warning, Miles Wei finally broke his silence. During a live stream, someone asked him about Dylan. He paused, his eyes lowering for a moment before saying, "Sometimes people write what they can't say. I think that's all I'll say about it." The comment section exploded instantly. That one line reopened the storm. What did he mean? Was Dylan's message a plea, an apology, or something that tied to a past they had never revealed to the public? Soon after, a behind-the-scenes video leaked online. It showed Dylan and Miles during a drama shoot months earlier, laughing and talking seriously in the corner. At one point, Dylan placed a hand on Miles's shoulder and said something the microphone couldn't catch, but the expression on both their faces changed from laughter to something far heavier. That short clip was enough to make fans believe that Dylan's message had roots deep in that moment. The production crew, when asked, refused to comment, but one anonymous insider mentioned that during filming, Dylan had seemed emotionally distant at times, staring into space between takes as if something was weighing on him. He had even rewritten a scene's dialogue, replacing the original line with one that said, "You'll understand when it's too late." That line was eerily similar to the tone of the cryptic message he posted weeks later. By now, even journalists were getting involved. Headlines flooded the internet, the hidden story between Dylan and Miles, Dylan's message sparks industry shock, Shen and Bai Lu caught in emotional web. But the truth, as it turned out, wasn't what anyone expected. 3 weeks later, Dylan resurfaced. He appeared on a talk show that had been recorded privately weeks before his message went viral. In that interview, the host asked him a question about connection and distance between people in the industry. Dylan looked up slowly, his expression calm but layered with something deeper. He said, "Sometimes people come into your life not to stay, but to teach you what silence sounds like when words fail. I think some of us forget how heavy that silence can be." The audience didn't think much of it at first, but when the interview aired, fans realized he was referring to the same time he had been in contact with Miles. The meaning became clearer. The message wasn't an attack or a confession, it was a farewell, a coded message of peace and closure to someone who had once been very close to him. In the days that followed, Miles posted a short clip of the sunset with the caption, "Peace, finally." No names were mentioned, no explanations given, but the timing was too perfect to ignore. That moment seemed to bring quiet to the storm. Shen reposted a quote about forgiveness. Bai Lu shared a post about beginnings. It felt as though everyone connected to the story was subtly confirming that whatever had been broken had now been mended. Weeks later, fans spotted Dylan and Miles at the same event, exchanging a brief nod and a smile that said more than any public statement ever could. The tension that had hovered over them for months finally lifted, and for the first time, people saw peace where confusion once lived. But what made the story unforgettable wasn't just the mystery, it was what it revealed about Dylan himself. Beneath the charm and calm exterior was a man who spoke through symbols and silence, a man who could convey emotion in ways that no headline could capture. His cryptic message had not been a scandal, but a lesson, that even in a world obsessed with words, sometimes the most powerful statements are the ones left unsaid. The internet eventually moved on, but the fans never forgot. The message that started as a riddle had become a story of closure, maturity, and quiet understanding. Dylan's silence was never about confusion. It was about meaning, about letting go without explaining, and about finding peace in what once caused chaos. And as one fan perfectly wrote under his old post, "We finally understood the message." It was never about who it was sent to, it was about what it taught all of us.